Thank you. I now recognize Rep. Baird for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank our witnesses for being here. My first question deals with the fact that last week, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, we held a hearing that the U.S. doing to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. One of my questions pertain to the actions this administration is taking to counter Chinese involvement with AGOA approved countries that have duty-free access to U.S. markets. The Communist Party, CCC, has leveraged large-scale investments in many sub-Saharan AGOA countries, eligible countries. Many of these investments have a tied aid approach that are backed by unrepayable terms and burdensome collateral commitments. My concern is that the U.S. taxpayer dollars that are being spent in Africa by the State Department and USAID are going directly into the hands of the CCP in disguise as repayments by those countries, and Americans are footing the bill. So my question gets down to what is USAID and the State Department doing to oversee where these funds are being used, and that Chinese are not just using these funds to funnel U.S. taxpayer dollars into their pockets. So if you can give me any kind of a sense of what you're doing in that area, I would appreciate it. Either one of you.
Thank you very much for your question. Of course, Chinese predatory practices in Africa, which include the BRI investment that increases debt burden, and also unsavory practices with regard to the environment and labor, are of major concern to the United States government. The kind of programming we're trying to offer as an alternative, whether it be through Millennium Challenge Corporation investment in, for example, regional transportation, the Development Finance Corporation financing for major investments to build transportation pipelines for mineral export, or Exim Bank financing, all comes with built-in protections to ensure that that funding is used properly and transparently with accountability. Separately, we are working with governments such as the new leadership in Zambia, where the previous leadership had incurred a great Chinese debt burden, at the Paris Club and other G20 discussions to help reduce the debt loads. So those are two examples of the way in which we're safeguarding U.S. investment and resources and helping our African partners move away from those predatory practices.
One more to continue on with that. Do you feel that we're being successful in competing with China? I mean, they fund everything in terms of ports and railroads and other resources, and so are those African countries accepting our offers?
We do different types of funding. As you heard from Dr. Mande, for example, we invest in people and in systems. So, for example, our impact on African health has been, as she said, transformative. But part of the reason it's been transformative is that assistance has helped build African health systems so that they're going to be better able to respond and work with us for pandemics, whether they're COVID, Ebola, most recently Marburg. So we have not traditionally invested U.S. government in big infrastructure projects the way the Chinese have. Some of those have been helpful to the continent, particularly roads, but some we have concerns about and are taking actions about. For example, we're keeping a close eye on investments in ports to make sure that ports aren't developed that would threaten the United States. So we have different ways of engaging. Our practices, of course, also are focused on anti-corruption, unlike the Chinese. And again, as I mentioned, on labor standards and environmental standards. So we believe in an open competition. Our processes and approach, our technology, our ways of doing business will be most attractive to our African partners.
Dr. Monnier, we're out of time, I guess, so I yield back, but I would like to have your comments on that too at some point. Thank you.